Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan, and I thought I would do a quick stream just so we can talk about basically the Salah situation. Some of you guys will already know about this. We'll talk about it, just to give a preview in a moment. But yeah, I wasn't really planning on doing a video or a stream today. I was trying to take a day off. I was chilling at my mum's house actually, and then I got a lot of messages and stuff. People asking, what do we think we're going to do next with the Salah situation now that he's injured? Are we going to take him out? How bad is the injury? What are some good replacements? And I thought, you know what? Let's just hop on stream for just half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, and just talk about it. So we're going to try and keep this little mini stream as tightly about Salah as possible, hopefully we can get to the bottom of what to do next, basically. And I'm going to give some of my thoughts. I've been thinking about it a lot over the last couple of hours, so I'm just going to share the thoughts. So hopefully this is an enjoyable one, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching the replay. Hopefully it's going to be okay. So right, basically here's the situation, guys. Unfortunately, Salah did get an injury in the FA Cup final game today against Chelsea. He had to come off with that injury. He was kind of feeling a problem in his groin area, I believe. So it was kind of a situation where he was kind of forcibly had to come off the pitch. He just was not feeling good enough. So because of that, we are kind of left in a situation where we think that Salah is not going to play at least the next game. So the game in Gameweek 37, I believe it's on Tuesday. Let me just double check that I have got that right. Yeah, I have, Tuesday. So that game is on Tuesday, Liverpool's next game. And Jurgen Klopp did say, well, pretty much said that it's the injury is not as bad as initially feared, but it is looking very, very unlikely that Salah and Van Dijk, to be fair, both Salah and Van Dijk are looking like they are not going to be available for Tuesday, so game week 37. So my initial thoughts on that are that Salah is not going to get any game time in game week 37. I wonder if he will get game time in game week 38. I would honestly be I would be surprised. I would be surprised if he played 90 minutes in game week 38 as well, just because Liverpool do have that Champions League final, and if there is a chance of getting Salah fit and available, they definitely don't want to overexert him too quickly. So yeah, maybe we're talking no points, blank, maybe not even in the squad against Southampton. That should be an easy game for Liverpool as well. So I think they'll be fine without him. And then after that, game week 38, it's a kind of a situation where I'm not convinced he's going to start. I'm not convinced. It could happen, but I'm not convinced. Maybe we'll find out a little bit more about that over the course of the week, but that doesn't really help us now because we have got, as I record this stream, like 12 hours until the deadline. So it really is very, very soon. A quick super chat from Max B says, transfer Mo and Dennis to KDB and Weghorst or any other two. I will talk about Salah replacements in just a second, mate. Don't worry, Max. I've got your back. I just wanted to give a little bit of pretense first before we start talking about the actual replacement players themselves. So, I would say we're in a situation. And to be honest, and I have to be totally honest with you, I was kind of thinking of potentially removing Salah as a bit of a differential move anyway, even before the injury. So I do think we're in a situation, if you do have Salah, I do have Salah, and I'm going to remove him. He is going to be gone from my FPL team. He will not, by the time we get to deadline, there's not going to be Salah in my personal FPL team. And I kind of would advise that you guys do the same, unless you feel differently, which is absolutely fair enough. If you think there's a good chance that he could come back for game week 38, for example, and do quite well there, and you're happy to just hold him on the basis that maybe he gets some minutes in game week 37. I don't think it's very likely, but anything is technically possible. Unless you feel that way, I would advise for selling Salah. He's such an expensive player. You can get so much for the money that he is. And there are some quite nice options that you can go for if you are looking to find that Salah replacement, which we are going to go through just in 1 second. Because I did quickly want to say, before we go any further, there is a couple of other minor concerns. Kulusevski apparently had to leave training today. Was it today? I think it was today. Because he was feeling unwell, so an illness or something. I don't know what the illness is. I don't know how bad the illness is, but it is kind of indicates that maybe there's a chance that Kulusevski might actually not play tomorrow. So I just want you guys to bear that in mind, that hopefully you can find some cover for Kulusevski just in case he doesn't play, but just make sure you've got a little bit of cover on the bench there. Like I say, Van Dijk, not looking good. I don't think Robertson has an injury, but he did look I don't know if it was maybe half a limp, maybe kind of feeling something. I know he got his little leg rubbed, didn't he? And he did come off the pitch. I don't think he came off the pitch through, an injury, but more maybe it was a little bit much for him. So I don't think Robertson is injured. There's been no talk of him being actually injured so far. Whether we get any more information about that over the next 12 hours, I don't know or not. But I wouldn't say he's injured, but there's a chance he doesn't play as well. So something to consider. Aside from that, is there any other injuries that have come about in the last day? I don't think so. Well, maybe there's some more, but I want to talk about Salah mainly. So guys, let me go to let's go to FPL.team. This is just my team. This is a website called FPL Team. I like to use it. I'm not affiliated with FPL Team in any way. I just think it's a really good tool, and I'm more than happy to give it a big shout out. And this is what my team looks like. So let's just move things around very, very slightly, and I'll kind of show you what we can do in terms of what we can do to replace Salah, basically. So that's what we're going to do right away. So the first, for most of you guys. Well, for most of you guys who don't have Son yet, if you don't have Heung-min Son, I would say that he is the most obvious Salah replacement. If you are, if you're on Salah and Kane at the moment, for example, I wouldn't even worry about the double up. I would just go straight in Salah to Son, and that is like one of the easiest transfers you will ever make. I know that's not going to be popular among some people because some people will be saying, well, what about De Bruyne? I prefer Son to De Bruyne. You may not, different people have different opinions. It's very difficult for me to sit here and say Son is a better pick than De Bruyne because De Bruyne obviously just scored 4 goals in one game, and it's very difficult to kind of convince you otherwise. So I'm not going to try and convince you. But I will try and give some of my reasoning anyway. IRH says Salah injury not serious, he will play. Like I kind of been saying earlier in the stream. Thank you very much for the super chat. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It's, certainly for game week 37, it doesn't look good. I really doubt he gets any minutes. I certainly doubt he starts in game week 37, so it's just not really worth it. Just sell him. So yeah, Son is my number one pick. I like him a lot. He's got Burnley at home this game week. Next game week, he's got Norwich away. So 2 really nice fixtures in a row. He's in incredible form. He's playing as the main goal scoring threat, I guess, for Spurs at the moment, ahead of Kane, and Son is also chasing Golden Boot, and the chances of Son getting the Golden Boot have just increased quite significantly with Salah's injury. So Son is going to be right on it, and I do wonder if it's very close. Could Kane give Son a penalty? Probably not. It's Kane. He's got his own targets, I suppose, hasn't he? I really, really feel passionately that Son is a fantastic pick for these final 2 game weeks. If you don't like Son or you already have Son, Kevin De Bruyne is obviously an option. Now the problem with De Bruyne, so let's just show you how it would play out. So if we just went Salah to De Bruyne, for example, which is something I could do because I already have Son. He has got West Ham away, which I'm not convinced is an amazing fixture, and then Aston Villa at home, which I think is a pretty good fixture, to be fair. City scoring a lot of goals at the moment. We kind of feel that because De Bruyne is, Man City, they're only in one competition. They've got 2 games left this season, right? They're going to play. They're going to play full strength. They're going to make sure they win the Premier League, because if Man City didn't win the Premier League this season, then there's a chance that Liverpool catch them up. It really would be a disaster, wouldn't it? So for that reason, De Bruyne should play these final 2 games, and looks pretty good for them as well, in good form. I would just say that if you are going for De Bruyne, do not expect him to score 4 goals from 0.8 XG every single game. It's not going to happen every single game. A fantastic haul, but that is, a 30-point haul. I know it's a double game week, but a 30-point haul is really a once every few seasons thing. It's not even a once every season thing. It's once every few seasons. Like, that is an incredibly high score. IRH says take minus 12, I guess, and use the bench boost tight gap in my league. You can do if you want. I want to try and keep the conversation about Salah, though, to be honest, IRH. So I do appreciate the super chats, but I'm going to try and mainly just stick to Salah stuff today, and then we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in tomorrow's stream, tomorrow morning for the deadline. But yeah, in terms of a bench boost, if you're taking a -12, then maybe that's... Are you really going to outscore the 12 points using the bench boost? I don't know. All right, back to Salah. Right, so De Bruyne, very good pick. I still prefer Son to De Bruyne, but De Bruyne is a second place, I would say. The next option, in terms of direct replacements, would actually be Mane. Now, I'm not completely convinced by this one, just because he did play so many minutes. 120 minutes in the FA Cup final, and then he's got to play on Tuesday. Then a few days later, on Sunday, I say a few days later, it's quite a lot of days later to be fair, on Sunday for the final game of the season, and then they've got the Champions League a week later after that. So that is a lot of time, and Mane is kind of due a rest in many ways because he has played so many minutes. He's just played 120. I would be a little bit dubious about this one, to be honest. So it's an option, it's differential for sure, and it allows you to stay in the Liverpool attack, which is going to be really important, really good thing. So in many ways, it could work out quite nicely, but it's kind of a little bit risky, that one. I do wonder if he's going to get rested. There is the other side of the coin, which is, do Liverpool have a choice? Maybe they have to play Mane because they don't. They do have obviously options, but they're now down to 5 forwards rather than 3. First world problems, right, guys? But there is a chance that Mane, just because Salah is not going to be available, in a way, maybe Mane is forced to play. Christopher I says, who do you think is a risk for Liverpool after today? I mean, Salah definitely, Robertson maybe, Van Dijk definitely, Mane again is a player who's due a rest. I don't know. I wouldn't want to say for sure. The only things we can kind of say is players that have got injured recently, or players that look really knackered recently, or players who are due a rest like Mane. Those are the kind of players we'll talk about maybe being risky. The other options for Liverpool, you could just go for a Jota or a Luis Diaz, which is obviously also you want to stay in on that on the Liverpool attack and go for. Diaz is going to probably be a more popular choice, a bit more fashionable, but Jota is not a bad choice either at all, really. It's Diaz with a Z. With a Z, Daniel, with a Z. This fixture is just phenomenal. So I would be tempted to go in on some Liverpool players, really. I would be tempted to replace Salah with another Liverpool attacker, just because you just feel like Southampton on the beach, bad form, nothing to play for, conceding so many goals at the moment. Liverpool are just such a good attack, even without Salah. And you just feel like there's going to be goals in that game, so maybe you just want to take a Liverpool attacker, to be honest. Now, those are the kind of direct moves I would be considering. Anything else outside of Son, KDB, Mane, and maybe a Diaz or a Jota, in terms of direct replacements, I'm not really sure about anyone else, to be honest. But there are some players who I think I would kind of consider who are a little bit cheaper, and we could maybe combine it into some kind of double transfer. Now, for example, and we're just talking about moving the money, really, aren't we? So, if we replaced Salah with a Zaha, I'm sure a lot of you guys are feeling this one. Max B in the chat says, Maddison, Barnes or Vardy worth bringing in for Mo? Yeah, potentially. We're going to talk about that. So yeah, you can bring it in Zaha here. Like Max said just there, maybe you could go for a Barnes or a Maddison there as well. But I think I would prefer Zaha to a Maddison or a Barnes. Barnes, I don't know. Is Barnes, he's got the 2 assists last game. Is he back in the team now? Maybe Leicester fans will know a little bit more about that than me. I don't know if Barnes is completely nailed on. I would say Maddison is very good chance of playing both. I would definitely, if I had Maddison, I would definitely be keeping and playing him. I'm not 100% sure if I'd want to buy him over a player like Zaha. But yeah, Maddison is definitely an option there. And if you did that, if you did something like that, Salah down to Zaha, or Barnes, or Maddison, maybe not Coutinho. I don't think I would go for Coutinho just because of bad form and potential for rotation. And I don't really like the look of any of the other Aston Villa midfielders either, to be honest. So, we are looking at double game week teams, really. So we're talking, Everton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Burnley, or Leicester. Everton midfielders is kind of Gordon or bust, really. Burnley, I'm tempted to say Maxwell Cornet. I mean, if you're on a budget, you could go for Maxwell Cornet potentially. But what that allows you to do is it frees up a load of money. And say Kulusevski is ill and he can't play, for example. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We can put him on the bench, or we can just put him starting and then, maybe Saka on the bench. I'm kind of worried about, maybe it's my pessimistic Arsenal fan in me, but I'm a little bit worried about that Newcastle away fixture. And we can replace Broja and actually pick up a new striker. So double up on, if you don't have Kane, you can double up on the Spurs attack. Like I say, they play Burnley at home and Norwich away. Two fantastic fixtures for Spurs. Spurs with so much to play for. That would work very well. If you wanted to take a slightly different route, you could maybe, instead of Kane, you could go for Jamie Vardy. Now, this one is really risky. I think his ownership in the top 10,000 players certainly before last deadline, was around 0.7% ownership or something like that. So sub 1%. Really, really low. So Vardy could be a really interesting differential. Now, the problem is with Vardy is he going to play 2 games? I wouldn't worry about that Chelsea fixture too much. I know it looks tough on the surface, but Chelsea have been conceding chances recently, a lot of chances. And Vardy is a player who shines really against the big teams anyway. So the fixtures look fantastic. Watford away, Chelsea away, really, really nice. It's just a question of, is he going to play or not? Is he going to get that game time over the double? He is available now. He's played a full game, finally, in the Premier League anyway. I know he played in the Conference League as well. Is he going to play both of these games? That's a really, really difficult question. It's so risky, but it's seriously risky. But if it comes off, that could be really, really nice. That could be really, really nice. He could genuinely come on and score a couple of goals against Watford, maybe score another goal against Chelsea, and you've got an absolute mega haul. You could get a 15-20 pointer for Vardy easily if he plays both games. His goal per minute ratio per 90 minutes is insane. It is only, I think only Salah and Mahrez in the Premier League this season have a better goal per 90 ratio than Vardy. So he really is that good. He just hasn't been able to play that much this season because of injuries and because of a little bit of rotation as well. So Vardy is an option if you're feeling really risky. I do quite like it. We've got Danny Ings, who actually previously this week said I didn't really like the look of. I actually put him as an avoid in my buy, sell, keep, avoid video, but I'm more than happy to go back on that opinion. I'm more than happy to admit that I was wrong on that one, just because things have changed a little bit. And what's changed is Watkins is now potentially injured. He's still not trained. So it's kind of touch and go whether Watkins is going to be available. So Aston Villa are going to have to play their strikers. They've changed formation as well, Aston Villa, which I think is very interesting. They're kind of playing with two... Well, I mean, they've been playing it for a few games now, to be fair. But they're playing with 2 strikers. So even if Watkins is playing, Ings can be playing there as well. He can play both games. So with the form that Ings has shown recently, it's 2 really nice home fixtures. And I have quite a lot of confidence that Ings will play both of these games now, when previously I wasn't too confident. But I am now. I'm reasonably confident anyway. If Gerrard is just going to, not on the beach, go all out, let's win some games, let's get a top 10 finish. That Danny Ings playing both games on penalties as well, Ings will be. It could be actually quite a nice little option to have. So I know he's a little bit cheaper, and I know that's probably going to leave a lot of money in your bank. I mean, if I did this move, for example, Zaha and Ings, it would leave 4.4 million in my bank there. So it could be pretty nice to spend that next game week. But you do get that impression, I want to spend all the money. I do want to say, guys, on that, you don't have to spend it all right now. You really don't. You can, if you go into next game week for 4.4 million in the bank, for example, you're going to be in a good position. At the end of the day, we're not just trying to get the most expensive players. We're trying to get the players who we think will score the most points. Now, the most expensive players this game week typically don't have a double game week. So if you want to go all in on double game week players, you can just pick up a Ings or someone who is not cheap but not exactly expensive, and do something that way. And then next game week, if you don't want Ings anymore, you don't want Richarlison anymore, obviously they have terrible fixtures, you can get rid of them and you can afford to go for a Kane next week instead. I mean, I can't, because I got not quite enough money. But you could potentially be able to do that. Or, you know, if you went for someone slightly cheaper, so for example, if we'll just reset this game, we could just start again for a second. So let's just put, I know Kulusevski might not play, but let's just, I'm going to change the captain so you guys don't moan at me as well. But we could go Salah to someone very cheap, Maxwell Cornet maybe, one last hurrah. We could take Broja to you could go for a Vardy, or you could go for an Ings, depending on how risky you're feeling. Let's put Ings in, for example. We'll leave 5.5 million in the bank. I know you're not going to like that. I know you guys are not going to like the idea of putting 5.5 million in the bank, but honestly, I don't mind it at all. I really don't think it is that bad of a thing to do. And then next game week, final game week, game week 38, Ings out, Kane in, boom. Norwich away, lovely fixture. We'll put on Richarlison there. We'll put on, Dan Burn there. We could maybe even play Richarlison, to be honest. Cornet's got Newcastle at home last game of the season. Could be worse. Could be a really crucial game for Burnley, with the relegation scrap still technically in the balance, isn't it? Well, very much in the balance, actually. Although Burnley are looking in a better position than they were a couple of weeks ago with Leeds' fall. And you could do something like that. Or you could take another -4 and go for like a Tony against Leeds. There are options there. I wouldn't be taking too many hits and stuff. I know... It depends what you're trying to do. If you're happy with your rank and you're winning your mini leagues, I probably wouldn't be going for the hits. Wouldn't really be doing too many hits. But you certainly could. If you're really trying to push it, you think you can make the points back on your hits in one game week, then go for it. Gal Mosinson, I think I've said that right, in the super chat says Salah to Zaha or Salah and Dennis to Barnes and Kane for a -4. Already got KDB and Son. That's kind of up to you. Who do you prefer? Do you want Kane? Do you want Zaha? Do you want to take a -4? There's options. There's loads of options. True Fandela says Ings or Richarlison or a free hit. I think I would lean towards Richarlison still at the moment, but Ings is definitely an option. Cornet emote when have we not got a Cornet? Do we? Yeah, we have. We've got Cornet emoji. We've got, you've seen it, Count Zelo, you've seen it. We've got the Cornet emoji, don't you worry. That's that's there to stay for now. I could do something like that, for example. And you guys could probably do something very similar. And what it would mean is taking a -4 this week and just redistributing your funds. That's pretty much it. To summarise that, I suppose, guys, you can either do a direct transfer and take Salah to a Son. I prefer them the most. You could take him to a KDB. You could take it to a Mane. You could take him to a Diaz or a Jota. Stay in that Liverpool attack, ready to attack this game against Southampton. You could maybe downgrade a little bit further and take him to a Zaha or a Maddison, or maybe I'm not so keen on Mount, so I won't say Mount, but certainly Zaha, Maddison, maybe Maxwell Cornet. I don't know if there's any other midfielders that you like at the moment, but certainly those three are the ones, the cheaper midfielders. Those are the kind of players I'd probably be looking at. So you could take your Salah all the way down to that, which if you were to do that, I would probably recommend to just doing the -4. And if you could do a significant upgrade, like from a Broja to a Kane, or a Broja to a Vardy, or a Broja to an Ings, particularly those double game week players, Ings and Richarlison, if you don't have him already. These kind of players could be really, really nice, and that will be especially useful just because Kulusevski, if you have Kulusevski, or if you have another player, if you've got a Laporte in your team, or you've got, all of these players, Watkins maybe, and you're worried about if they're going to play or not, just to get that extra player in your team, make that upgrade. Maybe you've got a Pookie that you want to upgrade to a Kane or a Vardy or an Ings. Downgrading Salah allows you to do that. Take that -4. But just be aware, guys, particularly with Richarlison and Ings, and any Everton or Aston Villa player you go for, they don't have a very good fixture in Game Week 38. So you probably would not be looking to play them in Game Week 38. So maybe just because of that, just be prepared that you might have to make another transfer to remove them again next week. If you went for a Kane, for example, he's a hold for 2 game weeks. You go for Zaha, he's a hold for 2 game weeks. So Zaha plays against Manchester United in game week 38, so that could be pretty good. Yeah, no, that's an absolutely fine fixture, isn't it, these days anyway. If you go for Leicester players, you can afford to keep them in game week 38 because Leicester play against Southampton. Is it a home or away? Let me remind myself it's a home or away game, but still, it's a pretty nice fixture. Yeah, Leicester play Southampton at home, so yeah, that could be pretty nice there as well to just keep that Leicester player. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, guys. Those are what I would say are the main options. That's what I would be that's what I'd be looking at personally. So hopefully that has given you enough options, enough to think about. That is pretty useful. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat or anything. Let's have a look. I mean, most of you guys are kind of talking about captaincy. We'll talk about captaincy tomorrow in the deadline stream in a bit more detail, I guess. But Son is the best captain of the single game week players for sure. Other than that, you know, Richarlison, Danny Ings, Jamie Vardy, Wilfried Zaha, those kind of players on the double would be players I consider captaining. Vardy captain is probably slightly too risky for my own personal tastes, but certainly Richarlison, Ings. I quite like Richarlison and Ings for captaincy, and you know, Richarlison, Ings, and Son will probably be my top 3, I would say. But feel free to go elsewhere if you fancy it. Those are just my favourites. Zaha, would I captain Zaha? Not sure. Maybe, but I'm not completely convinced by that. Those of you guys asking for a free hit, I made a free hit video like 2 days ago. I don't think I would change anything, to be honest. Just because I didn't have Salah in that team anyway. I didn't even put Salah in my free hit team in the first place because I prefer Mane, and I think Mane is a good way of saving a little bit of budget. I mean, maybe because of that 120 minutes, you would maybe not have Mane. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you switch out Mane for a. Did I have De Bruyne in that video? Oh yeah, no, I don't think I did. So yeah, just switch out Mane for De Bruyne. There you go. Bish bash bosh. Well, no, I had all 3, didn't I? Oh, I can't remember, guys. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, it was only meant to be a template anyway, so just have a look at it and maybe flick some things around. Maybe Mane would be the player to remove out of those players. We've got a super chat saying, thoughts on Salah to Maddison and Nketiah to Vardy? It's not bad. I don't know if I'd be rushing Nketiah out of your FPL team, though. Have you not got another forward you're more willing to part ways with? Because Nketiah is a good price. Newcastle away is not a great fixture, but Everton at home on the last day is quite nice. To get a starting Arsenal striker with so much to play for so cheap, Nketiah is pretty good, really. Real Novice says, I'm up 18 points in my mini-league. My opponent has a free hit. Should I take hits or be conservative? Have Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and they may get rested. They might, but then they might not. You know, that could go either way, couldn't it? If both of those players play, they could be on for a monster haul against Southampton. They could do really, really well. Really well. So, I don't know. If you want to take a hit or 2, honestly, at this stage of the season, because you only have 2 game weeks left to get any benefits from your hits, it's difficult to recommend making too many hits. This week is a double game week, which does change things a little bit. You can possibly make your hits back, but only really if you're removing players that you genuinely don't like very much. If you're just swapping players about for the sake of it, you know, swapping players you don't mind for more players you don't mind, or only making tiny upgrades for a 4-point hit, then it's probably not going to be worth it, to be honest, because you just can't pay off long term. There is no long term anymore this season, really. But you never know. Some free hits have failed this season. We've had a few free hit blunders this year. It could go terribly for your mini league rival. These things happen. Right, there we go. Right, I'm going to wrap things up, guys. I only wanted to do a short stream, to be honest. Those are all of the Salah replacements kind of that I'm considering personally. Hopefully, there's one in there for you as well. I still need to decide. I've got less than 12. Isn't it 12 hours exactly? Yeah, 12 hours exactly to make these final FPL decisions. I'm going to be cracking on, looking at some stats, looking at some spreadsheets, looking at some clips, and trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do for Game Week 37, and hopefully you guys are going to be doing the same and figuring out how to do what you're going to do with Salah. Those of you guys who are not watching this stream live, please do feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you're up to. If you've got any questions, I will keep an eye on the video comments as well and try and answer a few of them. And of course, guys, if you enjoyed what you saw today, please do like, please do subscribe. But aside from that, guys, I'm going to have a slightly early night because it's an early stream tomorrow. I'm probably going to eat some food and maybe even watch a film. We'll see. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Max B, thank you for the super chat there as well at the end. Really appreciate that, my friend. And yeah, I'll see you later, mates. Well, I'll see you tomorrow for the deadline stream. Make sure you're there in 11 hours' time. I'll see you in 11 hours, guys. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.